Imagine, if you will, a door. On this side is the world you already know. Love it or hate it. But on the other side lies a world in which 3 simple questions can liberate your free will and allow you to decide on any course of action. Already want to click away. I get it. It's impossible, right? But if it were possible, would you walk through? Let's find out, shall we? In 4, 3, 2, 1. First, let's identify the desired outcome. When faced with decisions to make or choosing from a number of options, it is easy to become paralyzed or demoralized by the whole process, depending on your income level. Even small mistakes in judgment, or Murphy's Law, can be financially devastating. And there is a lot of emotional baggage and anxiety surrounding many of our smallest activities, more so in stressful environments or when under pressure. Although we cannot predict all of our personal future, if we use the 3 questions, we can predict the bulk of it. However, the accuracy of the prediction and outcome depends on how well you know yourself and your world. So, the main desired outcome of the 3 questions is to add them to the toolkit we need to liberate ourselves from the fear of adverse outcomes as the result of acting on desires. This mental breathing room gives us space in which to help us sort out what we can attempt or achieve, personally, through free will and willpower. I call this chain of events, from first question to desired outcome, free willpower, or FWP. Additionally, the 3 questions are used to work past the fear, anxiety, depression, and other emotions you might feel when even thinking about the action, activity, or goal you have in mind. Finally, the 3 questions can help us put activities or goals into realistic, to us, frameworks or categories. This helps us decide if we can satisfy these desires and dreams in other ways, using placeholders and similar, scaled-down achievements or examples. Secondly, we must state our intent. Intent is the guiding light we need to see and reach our goals. If we are dishonest or hypocritical or unclear about our intent or goals, then they will be unreachable. Intent matters and creates accountability. So, what is our intent when asking the 3 questions? To begin with, our intent must be to minimize unintended harm and unforeseen consequences. These questions are not permission to do stupid, bad, evil, or criminal things just because you can. And I am also not saying that society's laws and social contracts are ideal or fair or humane or just. I am just saying that if you plan to break the law or violate the social contract, do not use these questions as your sole justification. They are designed for personal growth and empowerment, not for amplifying greed, corruption, or suffering. This will become more evident as we move along. Next, we must be brutally honest in our self-assessment. We must look at our past, present, and future behaviors, both productive and unproductive. Do not judge yourself during this process. This should be as objective as possible, using only facts and metrics of performance. If no metrics are available, use parallel abilities, habits, skills, etc. Lastly, know that your answers and decisions are yours alone. Yes, they may impact others, and if they involve friends, family, or colleagues, you should factor that into your final assessment. Seek wise counsel whenever necessary. But seek your own counsel most of all. In the end, whether you succeed or deviate from your goals is in your hands after you ask the 3 questions. So now, let's ask them. Question number 1. Is it possible? Or rather, is it possible between my first step in the present to my last step later? Here, we will rely on classical physics for our answer. We will only bring in quantum physics if the goal requires it, and we have access to accurate, up-to-date knowledge of the basics of quantum physics. Here, we have a wealth of data to draw from, and through this data, we can determine how far we can deviate from the native state of ourselves and any other matter involved. So, what is a native state? We shall delve into this in more detail in another video. But basically, it is the limitation of matter and materials. For instance, there is a native cap on the ability of humans to jump vertically. This cap is based on muscle output, gravity, nerve speed, and genetic height. Sure, we will keep setting records for vertical jumps, but at some point, if we keep our current form, there will be a last highest vertical jump record made by an unmodified human. Once we modify ourselves, we augment our native caps and abilities, and thus what is possible changes. However, any augmented records reached are not native records. This native cap applies to materials engineering, and native matter such as metal, wood, glass, plastics, etc. So, using the last example, if someone that was 4 foot tall and wanted to have the highest vertical jump record, we could say with 100% accuracy, they would never achieve it. It would be impossible. So, this goal does not pass the first question, making the next 2 irrelevant. Now, sometimes, we are asking questions about things other than ourselves. Let's say you wanted to start a business making the fastest, lightest bicycles in the world. Even if you researched the current best bicycles and got the blueprints and materials list for them, you might not be able to make it better just by redesigning the bike with the same materials in a different configuration. Building it lighter or faster using the same materials might not be possible. Therefore, it would be impossible. However, that does not mean you cannot use other materials and manufacturing methods. Each material has native limits, but there are many materials. If you are willing to overcome your ignorance or innovate, you can make the previously impossible possible through engineering. However, this might take additional time. Are you willing to work on your dreams and wait for the current impossible to become possible? This is something to think deeply about. After you have passed the first question with a definite or tentative yes, then you can move on to the next question. Question number 2. Is it permissible? When asking this, we must consider many fronts. Here are just some of the obstacles to our goals which might need to be overcome or avoided. Federal laws, state laws, city, county, and other municipality laws, bureaucracy, procedures, filing fees, and time limits, the local social contracts of any location you live or travel through, the possibility of violent opposition or repercussions, the possibility of legal opposition or repercussions, the dynamics of family, friends, lovers, and coworkers, physical boundaries such as fences, walls, locks, etc., our proximity to other humans and recording devices, including biometrics. This is a lot, but don't let that discourage you. First, determine if it is possible. Then, make an action plan toward your goal, no matter how small or immediate the action must be. As you know, anything can be broken down into smaller and smaller parts or components. It will be easier to have mini goals and milestones along the way. Sometimes, depending on the social climate you live in, secrecy is your best option. History is riddled with tales of good people doing innovative, productive things, and being killed for it. There seem to be unlimited ways to judge, suppress, and punish outliers. So, if you are attempting something normal and tried and tested, then focus mainly on the procedural aspects, the law, ordinances, guidelines, etc. However, if you are doing something that is more esoteric, or strange, or weird, but in a good way, then use wise judgment for when, how, and to whom you disclose the details. As they say in real estate, sometimes it is all about location, location, location. If your desired action and outcome pass the muster of the second question, move on to number 3. Question 3. Is it bearable? To sum it up, is the juice worth the squeeze? Again, there are many things to think about in the last step. Often, this is the question that discourages or outright kills dreams and desires. It might just convince you to passively let them die from neglect or fade away like a hint of something once longed for. Remember, at this last stage, it's all about you and your inner world. You know it is physically possible. You predict that the probability of success is high enough to attempt it, and have contingencies in place, if not at least in list form, to deal with the unpredictable. So, it is time to drill down to the bedrock of your personhood, your spirit, your individual sovereignty. You must do this to interrogate. the extent of your free willpower, fortitude, and grit. Here is a short list of frameworks to explore and actualize your dreams through. Desired lifestyle. How and in what manner do you want to live day to day? Tolerance for risk, criticism, exposure, publicity, arrest, doxing, etc. How much blowback and public exposure are you comfortable with? And can you put safeguards in place to mitigate unwanted attention? Personal health, diet, constitution, genetics. How much can you do physically, mentally, and socially per your own constitution? Do you have genetic or health concerns? Are you a morning or night person, an extrovert or an introvert? Adjust accordingly. Complications, conflicts, pushback, and dream killing from friends, family, lovers, etc. Do you have personal boundaries in place, or at least ideas to deal with when others violate your sovereignty, offer unwanted advice, or attack you with good or bad intentions, all in the name of helping or love? What is your past and current ability to form habits and patterns, reach smaller goals, ignore people and comments, and push through difficulties? Look at your past performance and metrics in the above areas, compare to today, and estimate for tomorrow. What do you need to do, habit or pattern-wise, to be more consistent in your results or defenses, or even your communication with others? If this exercise is too hard, or traumatic, or raw, then you can also look to those who came before. Delve into the lives of regular people you know, that have done what you desire, and try to put yourself in their emotional shoes. Additionally, you can look back through history at famous people who had achieved or attempted it, and see what happened to them, and how they dealt with the reactions of others. Suppose you decide that you can stand whatever real or perceived emotional suffering you might go through. In that case, you are now in a position to proceed, or not. Sometimes just working through the 3 questions changes the goal in your mind. You might have to rethink it, reconsider the outcome, the scale, the variables, etc. It is also fine if you want or need to shelve the issue, putting it off temporarily or permanently. The only thing the 3 questions really do is move a hypothetical choice through the sausage factory of your fears, anxieties, and doubts. So, on the other side, you can better predict success if you choose to act. But keep in mind, if it is possible, and permissible, and bearable, there is literally nothing stopping you from beginning. In conclusion, these are just a few ideas from one person. If I am wrong, then show me another way, a better way, another path we can walk together, and become whole again. So, until next time, imagine, if you will, a door.